Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All things Middle-earth here with an awesome video for you. Today I am looking at the commanders for Season 2. We have a sneak peek here of the commanders, not just the commanders, but all of their skills, or most of their skills and abilities. Again, I'm trying to break down some information that I received into more of a spreadsheet format, so I'm trying to get that as clear for you as possible. But we've got all the information on the commanders. I'm actually putting two videos together here because originally I filmed a video looking at just the kind of character sheet for the commander, looking at their stats, comparing them to other commanders in the game. But then I got a few days later some more information. So I wanted to keep that other information there because I think it's very useful, but then I'm going to add more to it. So this video is going to be kind of two videos in one. First part going to be just the commander character sheet, looking at their stats. Second one's going to be looking at all of their skills. So again, hopefully this is good information for everyone, and hopefully we can get excited about some awesome new commanders in the Rise to War. Two last things before we roll the intro. Number one, if this video is live, I'll be on Twitch for the first couple of hours of that. So if you want to come hang out over there, that's linked in the description below, because that ideally means Season 2 is live and we're playing that. And number two, until all these things are in the game, anything is subject to change. So just bear that in mind as we talk through all these things. I do have a video that just came out at the same time as this one of all the units and all of their special abilities and skills. That's going to be linked up in the top right if you want to look at the units first. But that'll be linked up there if you want to check that out. But let's go ahead and jump into the video now because we got a lot to cover. First up is Zegret. I'll put a picture up on the screen. Zegret, as it looks now, based on the 300 respect required to recruit, would mean that he is going to be a tier 1 commander. He has the warrior perk, and he is a evil man commander in terms of his race. Looking at his stats, he has very high might, very low focus, and 71 speed, kind of sitting, a little bit maybe average there. So comparing him to the other evil commanders, if I pull up one of my sheets I've got here, it looks like Zegret is going to have the highest base stat might in the game for evil tier 1 commanders. Now, again, subject to change, but he has that going for him, which could be interesting to see how that works out. Now, his focus is the lowest base stat in the game. His speed's kind of middle of the ladder. So, again, just kind of comparing to who we have so far, right now the highest stat for a tier 1 commander for evil for that strength is Ugthak at 94, and Zegret is sitting 9 over that, to put it into perspective. But his total is, I think, one of the lowest in terms of like total base stat. Now, obviously, it depends on what the per level stat is. As you level up the commanders, their stats increase, and so depending on what those is, he may or may not be really good or stay average or whatever it is. We'll have to see once he comes out, but that's kind of how he's looking to start out with. Now, the next one we're going to look at is Dune. She is an evil man in terms of her race. She has the balanced perk, or the balanced level 20 skill, or whatever. And then she is also looking like she's going to be a tier 1 commander, because we see that 0 out of 300 on the respect, which means she's probably going to be a tier 1 commander. And she has very, very balanced stats. Nothing crazy to look at here other than her total stat. Her total amount is going to be the highest base total stat for any evil tier 1 commanders in the game. Pulling up a calculator here, if we look at it, she's got 83 plus 83 plus 91, puts her at 257. The next highest on the list is going to be 233 with Yasra, 232 with Sharku. So she's sitting more than 20 points total above everyone else. Now, again, it obviously depends on what her per level stat is for all of these, because her starting base stat could be different from what we see her at level 50 or even level 20 or whatever it is. But again, just kind of give us a good idea of where she might fit in. She looks to be balanced, and she has the highest total, so she could be pretty useful at a tier 1. And again, hopefully these tier 1 commanders are relatively easy for us to obtain. But again, we'll see how that looks. But moving on here, next we're going to have Baruthiel, who is going to be a tier 2 commander as it looks right now with the 900 respect required. She has extremely high focus and very low might and speed. So Baruthiel, compared to the tier 2 commanders, has tied for the highest focus with the Mouth of Sauron, who also has 100 at his base stat. But her total stats are the lowest in the game at 152 starting out. The lowest other than that is Ugluk, who has high might and then lower of speed and focus. So she has that really high focus. She does have the support ability, and she is also, in terms of race, evil man. But again, we'll see exactly what her per per level stats are to see if that focus is going to carry really, really high to kind of bring up those others, or like, at least compensate for those other low stats, or if she is going to, how that kit's going to work. So that's Beruthiel there. So those are our 3 evil commanders, and kind of how they would fit in based on their highest stat and their total stats to other evil commanders. And now looking at the good commanders, first we have Eladin, who is a balanced commander starting at 94, 77, and 97 for his might, focus, and speed. He's going to be a tier 1 commander. It looks like he is an elf, and he has the balanced tag. Looking at his stats here, pulling up the calculator again, doing some math here in the videos, and everyone loves some good math. We've got 94 plus 77 plus 97 puts him at a 268, which would be the 3rd highest total overall, only under, I was looking at the tier 2. The 268 actually puts him in the highest starting base stats for tier 1 commanders. So it is 10 points above Eowyn and Hirgon, who are both at 258. 97 on the speed puts him just under Eowyn and Hirgon for speed. 77 on the focus. Let's see, kind of middle tier. Faramir has the highest focus at 95, and then the might being at 94. Actually looks like he has the highest starting might in the game. Dwalin currently the highest, Boromir's the highest at 93. You've got 93, and then for Boromir, 91 for Dwalin. Those are the highest ones, and he's at 94. So he's balanced, but he looks like he's going to have some good might. So depending on what his per level stats are for those abilities, we could see some really interesting uses with him as well. So that is Eladin. Next, we are looking at Ember Hill, who has the exact same stats as Eladin starting out. Again, this could be just a template being used for as the devs are creating characters. I'm not sure. They could also have the same starting stats. I don't know. So again, same thing. He's going to have tied now with Eladin possibly for the highest starting might, and then solid speed and focused. He also has the balance tag. He is also going to be a tier 1 commander, and his race is a man. So again, it'll be interesting to see how those two fit in. If those stats stay the same, what their per level stats are, to see if that changes how these characters are, if they're going to be very similar. And obviously, once we figure out what the skills are for these characters, I wish I had those now, but I don't. Some of these characters could really get a lot better, or they could just stay kind of mediocre, because sometimes these skills characters have can really, really change how they are used. So looking at the last commander we have is going to be Thorin, who is going to be a tier 2 commander. So we have 3 on the good side, 3 on the evil side, 2 tier 1, and 1 tier 2. Thorin is a dwarf. He has the leader tag, and like I said, he's going to be the tier 2 with the 900 respect required. And then comparatively stat-wise, he has high might and pretty decent focus and speed. His might is at 113. Right now, the highest might in the game for a tier 2 commander is 100 with Gimli. So he is going to be 13 starting might above Gimli, and then focus and speed. Again, he's sitting kind of middle of the rung, because it's those aren't his highest. The highest ones there are going to be 101 by Gandalf for focus and 108 for Eomer by speed. So he's not too far off those. He's by no means the lowest in any of those categories, but his might, he is the highest. So again, depending on what skills he has, if he's going to bolster, the dwarves of Erebor, is he going to be a commander that deals more damage himself? We'll have to see based on the skills that he has. But, it looks like we got some good commanders coming, because several of them that we looked at are going to now be the new leaders in certain categories like Mike and Focus, and so there could be a lot of potential with them. Obviously, once we see what their per level stat is, that could change drastically, but on paper, it looks pretty good. It doesn't appear that any of these are going to come in. It's not like Thorin is the first place in every stat, and we're seeing a power creep or anything like that. It seems like, Thorin's going to be a high might tier 2 commander, just over Gimli, but I'm sure his other stats will kind of balance him out in terms of a power creep happening there. So I think these are looking pretty good, at least from my perspective. Obviously, once we can look at their skills. All right, so we've just finished taking a look at all of the units and kind of getting a general look at how these commanders are going to be used, what tier I think they're going to be in, stat-wise, how they stack up against other commanders. And now I have detailed information on all of these skills for all of the units except for Eladin. I do not have Eladin. There was an issue with that. Not sure what happened, but I have 5 of the 6, so that's still a pretty good grade there. So we're just going to run through it. Again, some of this stuff is going to be hard to understand, so I'm going to try and make it as clear as possible, because it's not like an in-game view that I have. This is like a spreadsheet view. But first, let's look at Adune. I don't have the description. So I have their 4 main skills that require 15 points, and then I have the adjacent skills to all those 4 skills, but some of them don't have description. So we're just going to roll with it and try and get through it. I'll try and put some text up on the screen so it kind of makes sense what I'm talking about. But the first one for her first skill is going to be called Spell Seeker. That is her first one. I believe that's going to be the one of the respect 0 ones, but they also could just be in random order. It doesn't actually specify that. So these could be anywhere on her kit. Spell Seeker with a max level effect of 15 focus. That's all the information I have on it. The adjacent skills for this one are going to be Soul Siphon. And again, there's like a whole lot of like in-game code jargon here. So I'm just going to give a very general guess at what this means. But it looks like her first Soul Siphon skill is going to deal, it's going to be a damage dealing skill that's modified by the focus stat. So I'm assuming focus damage, but we'll see. And then there also is an allied unit's recovery, an HP recovery effect. Again, this is not as clean as it's going to be in game, but that's what I have for that description. So that's Soul Siphon. Then we have Plague, which is going to deal damage against enemy targets. It doesn't specify how many. And then there's also going to be an anti-heal. That unit type that took damage cannot recover HP for a certain amount of rounds. Again, I don't have the, it's very code format here, so we'll see once it's in game for sure. But that is Soul Siphon and Plague, which is going to be connected to Spell Seeker with a max level effect of Focus 15. Next one is Reaper, which is going to have a max level effect of Might plus 15. This one does not have a skill description as well, but I have the adjacent ones for this as well. We have Precise Blow. This is against enemy target. You deal a damage type and also gain Pursuit. I don't know if, I'm assuming that gain Pursuit is in correlation to this commander we're talking about, to Adune, but we'll see. But there's a Pursuit gain, dealing damage to enemy target. And then there's Heartseeker, which is going to be against enemy with the lowest HP. They are going to deal damage 1 time. So we have, again, Reaper with a Might plus 15 at the max level effect, with Precise Blow and Heartseeker as the abilities there. Moving on now, we have Black Numenorian. This one we actually have an effect for. It says the commander, normal attacks inflict additional damage type. So I'm not sure. I think that's poison, if I remember right from the other Black Numenorian skills we have in the game. But it looks like the same Black Numenorian skill with the focus plus 15. Then we have Dark Mantle and Black Arts. Dark Mantle is against all enemies. Physical damage received is going to be increased. And then let's see here. Black Arts, we have against target enemy, deal damage modified by the focus stat, and they cannot recover HP for a certain amount of rounds. I believe 2 rounds, but I'm trying to make this out. So it looks like this is going to be her second anti-healing skill, or at least like temporary shutdown of healing. So that'll be interesting. And then lastly, we have Betrayer. Again, I wish I knew for sure which ones of these were available at what respect levels. I don't. I'm assuming the order I'm going in is how they're going to be available, but then again, I do not know for sure. The last one is Betrayer. This is going to be a max level effect that enemy and allied units cannot be healed, so it shuts down healing for both enemy and allied units. And then the skill description for this is all allied units have increased damage. And yeah, so it increases damage for all of your troops and shuts down healing for both sides. Skill number 1 is going to be Intimidation. Might affect every round. And, oh, sorry, this is against the enemy commander. There's a Might is reduced, and they have a chance of being stunned. And then the next one is going to be Confusion. This is also against the enemy commander. They have a negative focus effect, and they also have a chance of being stunned for this one. So again, Adune is looking like she's going to have some anti-heal. She's going to have a heal cancellation for all troop types just to shut it down. And she has some anti-commander stuff here. So this could be a very interesting commander used to counter some of the better commanders, especially the healing ones we've seen in the game. But that is Adune. Moving on, again, no particular order here. We are talking about Baruthiel. This one is the Queen of Gondor, is her first skill that I have. It is for allied men and evil men. It is damage received. It's a damage reduction for allied men and evil men. And then there is going to be a focus plus 15 at the max level for that. Then I have a skill called Exile, which I don't have a description for. And Boon, which is all allied units randomly all allied units randomly receive one of the following buffs in battle. They either get a physical damage received reduction or a physical damage increase. So they get one of those two buffs on Boon. Exile, I don't have a description for, and then that's the max one is Queen of Gondor. The next main one is going to be Watcher. This is going to be against all enemies. It is going to decrease defense, it looks like, which is modified by the focus stat. There is going to be a plus 15 focus on that one being maxed out. Again, if you remember from the earlier part of the video, I believe Barathiel is going to have some of the highest focus we've seen in the game in a commander. So the fact that we're getting more focus, 3 of her 4 abilities give focus plus 15, is going to be kind of nuts. So focus plus 15 on Watcher. Then we have Espionage. This one is against enemy unit with the highest attack. They deal the lowest possible damage. And against enemy unit with the highest defense, they have defense reduced for, I believe, 1 round, but we'll see for sure once that's upgraded. And then we have Disruption, which is going to be against enemy commander. They have a chance of being silenced for a number of rounds. So that'll be interesting there. That is Watcher with Espionage and Disruption. Then, moving on, we have Black Numenorian. This one, again, the same one that Dune has as well, and that we have in the game already as far as I'm aware of. So their normal attacks are going to inflict additional damage type. I believe that's poison. Could be mixed up here, but I think it's poison. Then we have Focus plus 15 for the max level effect on that one. Then we have Dark Mantle, which is against all enemies. They receive extra physical damage. And then we have Black Arts. So it looks like Adune and Barathiel are going to share a couple of skills here. Then Black Arts is against target enemy, deal a damage type modified by the focus stat. It might be poison there, and they cannot recover HP for, I believe, 2 rounds. So another lot of anti-healing, extra damage, shutdown, stun, silence, both of these commanders. So looking very interesting here for the evil side. And then lastly, the last one is going to be Queen of Hatred. This is for allied and enemy men. So allied and enemy men. Damage received is there's an increase. They receive extra damage modified by the focus stat. Then the max level effect is that it affects evil men. So it's going to affect allied, evil men, and regular men on the opposing and on your side. So kind of interesting there. Then we have Plague, which is against target. It looks like one enemy target. There is going to be a damage type dealt, some kind of either poison or focus damage, and they cannot recover HP for 2 rounds, it looks like. And then we have the Master of Mischief. That is going to be against one target as well. They're going to inflict madness, and they're going to also have defense reduced for a number of rounds. So I'm assuming maxed out. That's going to be hopefully guaranteed madness for her there, but we'll see. So again, that's Barathiel, Queen of Hatred with Plague and Master of Mischief there. All right, moving on here. We're just rolling through these. Again, we've got Zegret. We have Brigand. This is going to be this commander and allied army. They deal extra damage when battling on vacant land, and it has a might plus 15 to the max level effect there. Then he has leader and battle conditioning as the adjacent skills for that one, but I do not have a description for those, so we'll only be able to speculate on that. Then we have the Reckless. This is each round on self damage increased, and there's a chance of succumbing to madness. Then the max level effect there is going to be might plus 15. Then we have break defenses and topple for the 2 skills for this one. Against target enemy, there is going to be a damage type dealt, as well as defense reduced for a number of rounds. And then we have topple, which is, I believe, against one enemy type, there's going to be a damage effect dealt. And then it also is going to impose a chance of being stunned for a number of rounds. And then third one here, we have Enemy of the Rohirrim. This one against, I believe, one target. They're going to deal damage 1 time. And then a random mounted target is going to get dealt an additional amount of damage. The max level effect here is speed plus 15. Then we have swing and disarm as the skills here. Swing is going to be against enemy target, deal damage. And then disarm is going to be against enemy target, deal damage. And the next target's attack deals less physical damage. So whoever you're targeting is going to deal less damage after they're hit by this. And then lastly, for Zegret, we have Dunfarian Chieftain. For Dunlanding Warriors, which is the new unit type that I've talked about in my other video, that's linked in the top right if you want more information on them. They're going to deal extra damage. The max level effect here is the army is going to get plus 20 speed. We have parry and stragglers for the abilities here, and that is going to be army. The damage from melee units is going to be reduced, and then straggler melee units are going to deal extra damage. So he's going to bolster the Dunlanding Warriors. He's going to give extra speed for the army, and he's going to have his melee units deal more damage and then receive less damage from melee units. So that is Zegret, another interesting captain there. We've got 2 more to go, Thorin and Ember Hill. We're just kind of rapid firing through this because I want to get this out here. So if you need to pause at any point and kind of look through what I'm putting out there, feel free to do so. For Thorin, we have Oakenshield with a might of 15 at the max. This is going to be against target, against one target, I believe. It's going to deal damage once, and then the allied army is going to have a damage reduction effect, and it is stackable and lasts until the end of the battle. So a stackable damage reduction effect that lasts until the end of the battle with Oakenshield. Maxed out, it's going to get a might plus 15. Then we have Deliberate Strike and Topple. We have against I believe one target, deal a damage type is all I have there. And then Topple against enemy target, deal damage, and imposes a chance of being stunned. So someone had Topple. I think Zegret had Topple as well. And then Revivalist, we have a max level effect of 2 allied targets recover HP. So a little bit of healing with the max level effect here. But Revivalist is going to be against enemy target, deal a damage type, and allied units recover HP. So I think it's 1 allied unit that's going to recover HP. Max out, it goes to 2 allied units, it sounds like. Then you have Frightened and Inspiration. Frightened, first available round. Let's see here. You're going to have enemy targets chance of being stunned each round. So I think I'm reading that right. I think there is, I don't know what the chance is going to be, but it looks like there might be a possible stun each round for 1 enemy target. And then we have Inspiration. All allied units have a damage increase modified by the focus stat. And yeah, that's that for Revivalist. Then we have King Under the Mountain. I don't have a description for King Under the Mountain, but that is going to be maxed level effect is going to be dwarves have HP plus 2. The abilities here are Longbeard and Detect Weakness. So Longbeard, this commander Thorin is going to ignore physical damage, or his physical damage, sorry, ignores the target's defense. And then Detect Weakness, chance of gaining damage plus a certain percent. I don't have the numbers here. It just has like kind of code from the game. So just a chance of gaining an extra damage percentage there. And lastly, for Thorin, we have King of Durin's Folk. This is going to be all Dwarven units receive less damage. Maxed out, the Dwarves are going to get attack plus 2. Then we have Well Prepared and Parry. Well Prepared is for melee units. When they're hit by enemies' normal attacks within range, they perform a counterattack. We have that one in the game already. And then Parry, damage received from melee units is reduced. So that is Thorin. And then lastly, at least the last one I have, again, we don't have the one for Eladin. Not sure why, I just don't have that. Is going to be for Ember Hill. So Ember Hill, his first one that we're looking at. Again, the order of these could totally change in the game. I have no idea if the first one's going to be respect, the first 2 are going to be respect 0, and then, 3 and 5. We'll see when it comes out. But Ally is the first one. It says this commander, they have a chance of recovering HP after Manish units deal physical damage. And then there is a max level effect of men having HP plus 1. His 2 abilities are going to be Reinforcement and Fortify. Reinforcement is, looks like on a specific round onwards, there's going to be an allied unit recovery. They recover a certain amount of HP per round. Again, I don't have the numbers, so we'll have to see when that gets live. And then Fortify, while defending allied units, they receive less physical damage. So that's very, very interesting there. Reinforcement, Fortify with Ally there for Ember Hill. Then moving on, there is the Fair. The Fair against a target, enemy target, deal a damage type. And then the next round, all allied units are going to gain initiative. And then the max level effect here is the battle experience is plus 5%. So kind of interesting there. That we don't have a lot of experience gaining skills. So that's that one, the Fair. The adjacent skills there are going to be Cleave and Brawler. This Cleave first is going to be against target enemy. deal a damage type modified by the speed stat, and then Brawler is going to be commander damaged against melee units is going to be increased. So Ember Hill is going to do extra damage to melee units, it looks like. Moving on, the third one, we have Air. This is going to be every round. Allied units, their defense is going to be increased, and it's going to stack once per round. And then the max level effect there is going to be Focus plus 15. Then we have Gallant and Nobility. I do not have a description for the first one. The second one is just going to be men get a damage increase. I'm assuming it's a percentage, but we'll see for sure. So we have Gallant and Nobility. I only have the description for Nobility there. And then lastly here is the Prince of Dol Amroth. This is going to be for mounted units. They're going to have speed increased as well as gain stun and madness immunity. And maxed out, it says Horseman, Knight, Cataphract, Swan Knights are going to have HP plus 6. So an increased HP for those mounted unit types. Then we have Mounted Combat and Coalition. Mounted Combat on hit, mounted units have a chance of dealing additional damage. In the Coalition, men and elves, their attacks have a chance to cause maximum damage. So again, this has been a very rapid fire look at all of these skills for the 5 out of the 6 commanders. Obviously, this is going to make more sense once these commanders are in the game. But if you're looking at trying to get plans together for what commanders you want to use or how they're going to work, we have some more of that information here. So again, probably a little bit of a longer video here because I've combined 2, looking at all of their stats and just the character card, and then now looking at their abilities. But I felt like this was a good way to do it, so hopefully you enjoyed this one. Again, linked in the top right is all of the units and their special abilities, so check that out if you haven't already. But as always, I'll see you all in a future video.